diets freaking work? Let me break it down for you, because fat loss, weight loss can be achieved through so many methods. There's not one gold standard. There's simply one way of dieting, one way of weight loss that's easier for you to adhere to. Now, what do I mean by this? Pay attention. Fat loss can be achieved by going keto, by trying intermittent fasting, by trying freaking juice cleanses, by trying that Herbalife subscription where all you drink are freaking shakes. Fat loss can be achieved through a low-fat diet. Fat loss can be achieved through a paleo diet, the Mediterranean diet. Any diet out there can help you with weight loss. However, only if you can sustain it, okay? Now, there is nothing magical about keto. There is nothing magical about intermittent fasting. There is nothing magical about any diet I just mentioned. They all work because they all create a calorie deficit. That is king for producing weight loss. If you're simply not in a calorie deficit, you will not lose weight. Simple as that. All these diets, they're not magical, but I will not discredit them entirely because they do work for some people better than others. For you, going keto, going low carb may be better for you. For me, I love my carbs, I love my pancakes, I love my waffles, I love my bagels, I love my sandwich bread, so I will never go low carb to try to lose weight. Because I know that if I simply maintain a calorie deficit, I will lose weight. And it's how I've been able to lose 30 pounds this year. It's how my clients have been able to lose 10, 20, 30 pounds this year. If you simply like going the entire morning without eating, fasting up until 12 p.m., 1 p.m., and you can sustain that and it's not difficult on you, then hooray, you found a way of dieting that works for you. You're simply shortening your eating window, thus preventing you from overeating, thus helping you create that calorie deficit, thus helping you stick to the calorie deficit if you're someone who tends to overeat at breakfast. Now, if you prefer not to eat any carbs at all, bagels, bread, pasta, potatoes, I fucking love potatoes, but any carbohydrates in general, then hooray, you've found a way of dieting that works for you. So you can do low carb or you can do keto, However, just because it worked for you doesn't mean that is the holy grail for weight loss. Just because the way I lost weight worked for me isn't the holy grail for everyone else around me, okay? Because going about weight loss, trying different diets, trying restrictive diets like going keto or going low carb can potentially cause us to run into some problems, okay? If we're constantly restricting ourselves from our favorite carbohydrates that we always grew up eating, there is chance that we're going to run into a problem. Almost always, restriction leads to a poor relationship with food. Because if we say that only keto and going low carb or carbohydrates are bad for you and you don't need carbohydrates, that sugar is bad for you, that fruit is bad for you, we're putting a label on food that can be consumed while trying to lose weight. And that shouldn't be the case. We end up just damaging someone's relationship with food. And I don't want that as a practitioner. That's the last thing I want to do. I want them to be able to enjoy themselves and make the progress that they want to make. So oftentimes, doing restricted diets like keto isn't the way to go. Doing restricted diets like low carb, paleo, grain-free isn't the way to go. Now on the topic of restriction, okay, and just trying to adhere to a very difficult diet in and of itself, okay? Keto, all these diets are very restrictive and they're very difficult to adhere to. So consider this scenario, okay, and it's likely what you've been doing. It's likely what you've been victim to, okay? Say we're perfect all freaking week. All right, say we're perfect all week. We're eating our salads, we're eating our low carb meals or no carb meals. We're fasting it up until 1 p.m., but we're freaking dreading it. We're freaking dreading it. We can be perfect all week up until Thursday, up until Friday, but once that weekend comes around, crap, we're in some trouble here. Because say we go out with family and they're enjoying food that they like eating, but you're not enjoying food that you like eating, and you end up trying just a little nibble, you end up trying just a little taste of that good freaking food, and then guess what? All hell breaks loose and you end up binging and you cave into those cravings and you ruin your progress, quote unquote. And guess what happens after that? You feel guilty, you feel bad, and you end up just repeating the same cycle yet again. You restrict. As soon as Monday comes around, up until Thursday, Friday, and then the weekend comes around, you're at home most of the time, you're not at work where you're always distracted with work, you're around the pantry, you're around the fridge, you're around good food because your family likes eating good food. Your family likes eating freaking bagels for breakfast, your family likes eating pancakes, French toast for breakfast, burgers for lunch, pasta for dinner, and you can't have that you end up just binging again and you cave in. You restrict again, and the cycle just keeps on going. It keeps on going. So for people like those that fall into those cycles, those traps, doing restrictive diets like keto, intermittent fasting is not clever. It's not the way to go. So we have to find a different approach that aligns with their lifestyle, with what they like to eat, with what they can actually adhere to. Now, I want to give you just a little bit of science, I guess, when it comes to a diet, say intermittent fasting, okay? Your body will not distinguish between 7 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Graveyard shift workers, graveyard shift nurses, okay? Your body will not distinguish between 7 a.m. and 11:59 p.m. Your body will simply do what it has to do. Digest, burn calories, digesting food, build muscle, store carbohydrates as glycogen, burn off fats or store fats in body fat. Your body is going to do what it has to do. As long as the body is receiving an adequate amount of calories, you will lose weight. If you're in a calorie deficit, you won't gain weight eating past 8 p.m. Okay? You won't ruin your progress if you break your fast a little too early, say 10 a.m. You're all good. As long as you're giving your body the correct amount of calories every single day, you will make the progress that you want to make. So these diets are not magical. What ultimately determines if you lose weight or not is how many calories you're actually consuming. Put it this way, okay? And I like to use keto and intermittent fasting quite a lot here, in case you haven't noticed. But let's say you're doing keto and you're trying to be, high fat, low carb. 8 grams of oil, which is what someone typically uses to simply cook a meal with, is about 68 calories. One slice of sandwich bread, not the large sandwich bread, but the regular size sandwich bread, 60 to 70 calories. There literally is almost no difference in terms of calories. The only difference is the macronutrient composition. We're getting more fats with oil, we're getting more carbohydrates with the bread. At the end of the day, a calorie is a calorie. If you're within your calorie deficit, you will lose weight. You can lose weight eating a shit ton of oil. You can lose weight eating a shit ton of bread, a shit ton of carbohydrates. Ultimately, preference will reign supreme here. Do you prefer higher fat, low carb, or do you prefer higher carb, maybe lower fats? Okay, so a calorie is a calorie. Just like an inch is an inch is an inch. A calorie is a calorie is a calorie. What matters is your calorie intake every single day across the entire week. Now, I want to leave you with just some recommendations, okay? Recommendations that I prescribe to my clients who work with me. Recommendations that are also general recommendations that you, the average Joe, the average person, should be following, okay? Whatever diet you choose to do, they all work, okay? But if you can approach this via a more flexible lens, including the foods you love, spending more time in the kitchen, recreating foods you love, you will find that it's going to be easier to stick to that diet, and you will find that you'll likely make more progress a lot faster, okay? So here are a couple of recommendations right here. I'm going to give you about 10 of them, okay? And these are things that I teach within my program, that I teach on my Instagram when I talk about these things, when I give just free value, okay? And I repeat these things over and over because the basics will work. Or why fix something if it's not broken? And these 10 things are not broken. They actually work, okay? So number 1, track calories to ensure you're in a calorie deficit. Number 1 is the most important one, okay? It's the most important one you have to do. If you're simply not in a calorie deficit, if you're not tracking your calories diligently using an app like MyFitnessPal, you're gonna have trouble losing weight. You can eat as low carb as you want. You can eat as healthy as you want. But if you're not in a calorie deficit, you will not lose weight. So number one, track your calories to ensure you're in a calorie deficit. Number two, incorporate lots of lean protein sources, okay? Here's a list of lean protein sources that you can choose from that give you 30 grams of protein or more, depending on the serving size. You have a lot to choose from. You don't have to just stick to chicken breast or tuna. Hell no. Choose more lean protein sources. If you do so, you'll be able to actually have a bigger serving size and keep calories low. For example, take a 80-20 ground beef. You can only get 4 ounces for about 300 calories. Take a 96-4 ground beef. You can get like 8 ounces for 300 calories. You get double the amount of ground beef for the same calories as less ground beef when using 80-20 ground beef. So use more lean protein sources. You'll be able to fill up a lot more and you'll be able to get more protein, and it'll make dieting easier because you'll be fuller having more food on your plate. Number 3, incorporate lots of low carb fruits and veggies. These are going to be very high in fiber. These are going to help bulk up your meals quite a bit. So if you, let's say, are cooking up some 96-4 ground beef, say 6 ounces, throw in a ton of tomato, throw in a ton of mushroom, bell peppers, maybe some onions, and you're going to find that serving of ground beef actually triples in size because of how much volume these low carb veggies provide, and for virtually almost no calories. Okay, so start incorporating more veggies, more fruits. And there's a reason why the general recommendation of a balanced plate shows or depicts half your plate veggies. Okay, incorporate more veggies. You're a freaking adult, I'm assuming. So incorporate more veggies, and that's the easiest way to stay full and the easiest way to adhere to a calorie deficit, to adhere to a diet protocol. Number 4, which I think is probably a no-brainer, let's reduce our consumption of sugar-sweetened beverages. So yes, I'm talking about your sodas. I'm talking about when you hit up Starbucks and you order dessert. Those coffees come with a crap ton of sugar. So consider just swapping for a 0 sugar or a Diet Coke, Diet Soda. Start getting some sugar-free vanilla syrup in your coffees. Use sugar-free coffee creamers in your coffees. Start drinking less calories and choose alternatives such as obviously water or 0 sugar diet lemonades, diet juices, diet sodas, 0 sugar sodas. That's easily going to replace 150 calories at every single meal if you're having soda or if you're having juices with your meals. 150 calories times 3, that's upwards of about 500, 600 calories per day that you can be saving. Wild, right? Freaking wild. Liquid calories contribute a lot of calories if you're not aware of that. Number 5, I need you to cook more at home, okay? Because the more we cook at home, the more we control what actually goes into our plate, our mouths. How many calories actually go into our mouths. We can go to Chipotle, we can go to Pollo Loco, we can go to a restaurant and order the healthiest item on the menu, but at the end of the day, we're not in control. So how do we know for a fact that they didn't use more than 10 grams of oil, or that they used 8 ounces of some type of protein as opposed to what the menu said when it said 6 ounces, right? So we'll never know for sure. Unless you cook at home most of the time, you will know for a fact that you're getting this amount of protein, this amount of calories, this amount of fat, this amount of carbohydrate. Cook more at home, okay? Cook more at home, make it a sacrifice, make it a consistent thing that you do for yourself, because it's going to give you that upper hand, it's gonna give you leverage, and you'll be able to make progress faster. Number 6, I need you to lift weights minimum 3 times per week or more if you can, okay? Resistance training is the number 1 best way to build the shape that you want to reveal. Resistance training builds muscle. It sends a signal to the muscle asking it to grow. And if your goal is to look lean, toned, defined, then resistance training should be your number 1 intervention. when it comes to weight loss. Resistance train, resistance train. You need to resistance train. I can't stress this enough. If your goal is to significantly change how you look, change your body composition so that we can have less body fat but more muscle mass, you know those looks that you're trying to achieve? Yes, those looks that you're trying to achieve. Resistance training does that for you. To stick to a schedule at least 3 times per week, incorporate progressive overload, follow a training program, okay? Number 7, definitely add some form of cardio, okay? But do cardio that you enjoy and do more of it over time. If you don't like running, don't do running. Simply stick to some incline walking on the treadmill if you want, maybe every single day or maybe 3 to 4 times per week. Head outside, go to a park near your house and simply walk 20 to 30 minutes. Dedicate some form of cardio so that you can reap the benefits of cardiovascular endurance, okay? We need you to move. And the more you move, the more steps you actually get throughout the day, the better your chances are with weight loss. Movement outside of the gym is super, super important, okay? Yes, you can go to the gym for an hour or 2 and consider yourself active, but if your step count for the day is 4,000, you're not active. You're a sedentary person, okay? Get your ass outside, get off the couch, get up off the office chair and go to a park, hop on the treadmill, buy a walking pad that you can put under your desk while you work from home, get more steps and get more movement in throughout the day. That's going to significantly help you when it comes to weight loss, fat loss. Number 8, we need to dedicate more time to sleep every single night, okay? Try to hit 7 hours, ideally 8 or 9 hours per night, okay? We can be sleep deprived and we wouldn't even notice. And that's literally going to mask your weight loss efforts. It can make weight loss so freaking difficult, okay? I'm just letting you know that right now. It can make weight loss so freaking difficult if you were sleep deprived. Stop with the notion of, oh, I gotta go harder, I gotta go harder, I gotta go harder, I gotta sacrifice sleep, I gotta sacrifice sleep. But you sacrificing sleep in an effort to go harder is only gonna backfire on you because your body keeps score, okay? Your body needs rest, it needs to recover. When we recover, that's when our body is able to grow muscle, that's when our body is able to do its thing to help you lose weight. Dedicate time to sleep, improve that sleep schedule, okay? And then number 9, drink less freaking alcohol. It doesn't serve you, okay? It doesn't serve you. It causes fat gain much more easily and it destroys your sleep. So if we're drinking, we have a shit sleep schedule as well, our sleep is just gonna get even more worse. We're more prone to gaining body fat around the midsection especially. We don't want that. It's gonna make fat loss even harder. It doesn't serve you. Yes, you can fit it in, 1 drink or 2 drinks, right? Maybe once a week is okay. But I'd rather you just refrain from drinking, okay? It's only gonna help you achieve weight loss, fat loss faster. It doesn't serve you, okay? It doesn't freaking serve you. And then number 10, obviously, drink more water. We gotta drink more water. We gotta stay hydrated, okay? And I'm not gonna explain anything more on that. I'm simply gonna say, drink more water. So those are my top 10 recommendations that I educate my clients on, okay? That I'm always elaborating on, that I'm constantly repeating, okay? And they may seem boring, they may seem duh, but this is stuff that's easy to do. Going on a walk, sure. Tracking your calories, sure. Getting more sleep in, sure. Drinking less alcohol, sure. But it's also stuff that's easy not to do. When you have freaking McDonald's down the road, when you have a whole case of beer in the freaking fridge just calling your name, when you have a ton of junk food on your island in the center of your kitchen calling your name. All this stuff is easy to do, but it's also easy not to do. So you have to be mindful of your choices because every time we make a choice, it either works for us or works against us, okay? So those are my top 10 things that you should be doing to further your weight loss progress, to further your fat loss progress, okay? But number 1, again, the most important thing, track your calories to ensure you're in a calorie deficit. If you're not tracking your calories, if you don't know how many calories you're consuming, you're shooting yourself in the foot. It's like trying to save up money for something, but never knowing whether you're on budget or not. If you're not tracking it, you're simply guessing. And if you're guessing, you're not planning to succeed. I hope this helps. Quite a bit of information. I hope you were able to take some notes, okay? Overarching theme here, all diets can work, but stick to something that you can adhere to. If going low carb doesn't work for you, don't do low carb. If fasting doesn't work for you, then don't freaking fast. You can incorporate your favorite foods. You can incorporate bagels. Shit, I do. I incorporate French toast almost every single morning. And I still made progress. And you can do the same too. Okay, so I hope this was of great help. Stay tuned for just more content like this, more education like this, and follow me on Instagram at Steven the Dietitian, where I post more about my journey and just more education that I can provide for you when it comes to training, fat loss, dieting, just general nutrition education, okay? So I'll leave it with that. And with that said, I'll see you on the next one. Peace.